Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Canyon Lake Property Owners Association Board meeting. And I'd like you all to stand and join me in the flag salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir. We'll verify quorum, Harmony.
Yes, sir. Oh, 1 second, I'll come talk to you. Director Cook? Director Griffiths? Here. Director Bach?
Here.
Director Brangham?
Here.
President Commission?
Here.
5 present, quorum met.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion that we approve the minutes?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5 in favor, motion carried.
Thank you. All right. Okay, public officials. Darcy, do you have something to say today?
Good evening, President Commission and board members. I just have a few quick updates. One of them is I want to remind people that Mayor Castillo and I are having a coffee tomorrow morning at 7:30 at the Country Club. We try to do it the first Wednesday of every month. We are also exploring trying to find an evening time, so for those that can't make morning, that they can bring their questions or concerns to us. I also wanted to announce that we had an unexpected vacancy on our board 2 weeks ago, actually. Director McBride resigned. He represents Division 3, which is, you might know that area is like Lakeland Village and part of Wildemore. So if you have friends or family that live in that area and are interested in serving on the Water District, we are about to start an appointment application process. We'll consider that on Thursday night on how we're going to proceed. We're actually very grateful for the City of Canyon Lake. They kind of laid out at least a template of potential protocols for us to follow. So we'll be exploring how we're going to do that moving forward. My understanding is we have to fill that appointment by August 20th. Finally, I wanted to mention that staff's going to come up and talk about a sewer rehabilitation project that we're really excited about. I want to point out that it's very innovative and it was designed to have the least disruption for our residents and their property. And finally, just a reminder, if anybody has any questions or concerns, my phone number is just about everywhere. And so is my email, and I'm happy to take any questions or concerns. That's all I have tonight, President.
Thank you. Any questions for Darcy?
Thank you.
I think you keep us well informed, so thank you. Oh.
I just want to know if there's any age limit on the you have any age?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Bonnie, you bear with me. Yeah, we got one more that we'd like to hear. You're next. I think everybody knows you.
Okay, good. First of all, I'm Jeannie O'Dell, and I'm representing the Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce tonight. So while I'm not an elected official, I'm still public, I guess. So that's why I get to talk. But first of all, I want to congratulate Director Cook, Treasurer Griffiths, and Secretary Bach on your election. And I want to congratulate the entire board for your new term. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So just a quick chamber update. I hope to do this every month at the POA directors meeting, if that's okay. So I would like to first of all thank the POA for joining us in our restaurant week, our 7 days to savor. It was very successful. We had over 230 entrants into our gift card. So people did win a $50 gift card thanks to Eric and Lynn at both the Lighthouse and the Country Club. So that was nice. So thank you to that. The Chamber will be attending a mega mixer in Paris on July 15th. And Lynn, if you wish, because the Country Club is open to the public, I can bring flyers or any kind of marketing material that you wish and put it on our table. so we can take care of that. The chamber is putting together a storm game and hopefully tailgate party for September 16th. So for any of you that are interested, I know a couple of you belong to the chamber as well, so you'll get notified of that. We will be, thanks to Carrie Pratt and Lynn, once again, hosting our Parade of Frights on October 23rd. So that's kind of exciting. And I do want to thank Carrie. I know she's not here tonight, but she did reach out and make sure that the date was secured for us. So thank you to that. We are doing monthly newsletters now. So the POA should be receiving that as well. And we will be doing business spotlights. So if you'd like to have any of the business functions, such as the Lighthouse or the Country Club, focused as a business spotlight, just let us know. Also on our website, we have member-to-member deals or member-to-member deals. So if there's any kind of deals that the POA would like to put on the member-to-member deals, they could, such as 10% off at happy hour or all the things that Canyon Lakers love to do. And we also have an event calendar up and running. So if there's events that the POA would like us to post on the event calendar as well, just let me know. For example, we will be posting the board of directors meetings every month on them. We know it's not open to the community, but at least it's letting our community know what's going on. So if there's anything else like some of the club events, we'd be glad to post those as well. So thank you.
Jeannie, before you leave,
Oh, yes, sir.
I
was trying to get out of here.
I don't know if the chamber's involved in that, but we see the town center is going through a renovation for the landscape. Are you guys involved in that at all?
No, that's the Merchant Owners Association.
Right.
So that's the chamber doesn't own property within the Canyon Lake Town Center, so we're not involved in that.
Okay.
But it'll look nice, I think, when it's done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Welty, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm remembering the little light on the switch, which is kind of nice to remember on the microphone. Speaking of appointments, Jennifer Dane was appointed to replace Jordan on the council, and that was done at the last meeting. So if you haven't met her yet, come on down. Tomorrow is our meeting. So it's at 6:30 at the City Hall. So Jennifer will be there. You can come meet her and you can come and sit through our council meeting also. Congratulations to Animal Friends of the Valley. They were elected voted nonprofit of the year for the area. And so we went down there and what a great place. If you need an animal or want an animal, that would be a great place to go. My wife knows the information better than I do, but the kill rate when they started was somewhere around 7, or the live rate, the rate of dogs that went out the door was somewhere in the 30% range. Now it's somewhere in the 90% range. So they're very successful at placing animals. So if you're looking for one, I know Renee is going to leave the meeting and run down and get one. So they're doing a great job, and we just want to congratulate them. And the other thing is, I think we had a good weekend this weekend. I don't remember hearing about a lot of accidents in the lake or any of the boats crashing or anyone getting hurt in the lake. So at least as far as I know, it was a great weekend. The fireworks were great. The bad news is that Railroad Canyon, there was a couple of accidents almost in the same place. So we're no longer the only, we're no longer the only community that uses that road. That road is used by a large part of the southern Riverside County area. So I'm just asking everybody to be very careful going down Railroad Canyon. It looks like it's a great racetrack and be a great place to zoom your sports car up and down, but there's been a lot of deaths and accidents over the years there. So just remember to be safe when you drive down there. And that's it.
Thank you, Dale. Any other public officials that would like to speak? Okay, we have a special presentation by the EVMWD Canyon Lake Sewer Project from Bonnie Woodrum. Welcome, Bonnie.
Hello, thank you very much for having me here this evening. Well, thank you, Board of Directors and Mr. President. I'd like to share with you this evening about our upcoming sewer rehabilitation project. My name is Bonnie Woodrum. I am the Community Affairs Supervisor. With me this evening, of course, is our Vice President, Director Burke, who represents this area, and also the project manager and engineer for this project, Nelson Nuezca. And we have a great big project coming in the next couple of weeks, so I wanted to keep you up to date and informed. So if you can, the next slide, please. A little bit about the district. You all are very familiar with us. We provide water and sewer service to over 157,000 customers, many here in Canyon Lake. The water and sewer system here in Canyon Lake was acquired by EVMWD several years ago, and our commitment to you is to ensure safe and reliable water and sewer service. Well, some of the sewer pipes in the area are aging and they need to be improved, and that's why we're embarking on this project over the next couple of weeks, or next couple of months, I apologize. Next slide, please. Portions of the Canyon Lake sewer system will need to be rehabilitated to ensure capacity and reliability. And during a recent inspection, staff identified several segments in need of repair. Maintaining our aging system throughout the area will improve our efficiency and reduce blockages, which can lead to overflows and sewer system backups. Next slide, please. So this project is anticipated to start in September and will run about 6 months. During that time, we will rehabilitate about 3,300 feet of pipeline, sewer pipeline, and it will increase the reliability of the system. Next slide, please. As you can see from this map, we have several neighborhoods that we will be completing this project in. That includes Granite Dome Place, San Joaquin Drive West, Irrigation Point, Lighthouse Drive, and Lassen Drive. Next slide, please. We really want to ensure that we make as little impact as possible as far as day to day. So a lot of the work will be trenchless. This is a process where we go into the pipe and repair it from the inside. Of course, there are some places where we will not be able to do that. These spot repairs will require digging. And so in those instances, we will have to do some digging. This may impact some private properties, but we're going to do as best we can to keep you informed and minimize it as much as possible. Next slide, please. As you may be aware, we have a very unusual sewer system here. When the community was set and the sewer lines were put in, the property lines were put forth later. So some of the sewer lines, as you can see, it's a little difficult to see on this slide, but the green lines would be what those sewer mains are. So we have some sewer lines going through backyards or side yards or front yards. And while this is a very unusual circumstance, it's not unfamiliar to our staff here at EVMWD. We actually did a similar project in 2018, you may recall, on San Joaquin Drive. This will be a similar sort of project. At that time, we had assistance from Jill DeCrescio. She did community outreach. She will be with us again to assist in this project and be able to keep you updated and informed when the project is happening and when it's in your neighborhood, or if it will be an impact because the sewer line runs under a property. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the project will begin in September. We're looking at work hours between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. We do not expect there to be any water outages with this project. There may be times, 6 to 8 hour blocks, where we'll ask you not to flush water down the drain. And we are going to work in sections to ensure that we have as minimal impact as we possibly can, keeping a schedule forward so that you will know in advance if we are working in your area. Next slide, please. We do expect that there may be some increased traffic or from trucks or equipment. Residents will remain, access will remain available at all times. However, detours, traffic and parking restriction, and minor traffic delays are anticipated for the project. Next slide, please. We want to ensure that we're keeping you up to date with this information. So we welcome you to follow us on social media. We will continually put out construction alerts and notifications. We will mail those out. We'll also keep in touch with the Friday Flyer and share information as it comes. Next slide, please. We also invite you to give us a call. You are welcome to call us at this number here or visit our website, which we will keep current with information. Again, right now, I can assist and Nelson can assist with any questions that you might have, but once the project begins, Jill will take on and she'll have a hotline direct to her that can help answer any questions and keep you posted of what's going on. And as I mentioned, we'll continue to reach out to you all. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Anyone have a question?
All
Well,
right. Thank you so much.
I just want to make sure
Sure.
that there's no cost to our members for all this work that's being done. It's not going to affect the dues.
No.
This is all prepaid with our water bill.
Right. This is a
Okay.
project that's part of improvement and maintenance that we do regularly for the water district.
I know the answer
No
to that.
additional cost.
I knew the answer to that. I just wanted everybody else to know the answer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And another question was,
Yes.
you mentioned something about liners. So you're going to utilize the failed pipe that's in the ground and put a plastic liner in that?
Yes, they have a technology that will go in, is very similar to what we did on San Joaquin Drive, that goes inside and forms around the pipe and creates a lining that allows us to use the pipe as it normally would.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you very much
All
for
right.
coming.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, Nelson. Okay. I don't think we have any announcements, so we can go to the consent agenda. Was there any items on the consent agenda that needed to be pulled by the board? With that, I'll call for a motion on the consent agenda. Or did I hear a motion? Oh, I'm sorry? On the consent agenda. We're just on the consent agenda.
A through D.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through D as written.
Second? Second. All right. Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay, item 7.1 on the parking lot project. Steve Schneider, I think this one's yours, isn't it?
Good evening. So in 2016, a design company was retained to design a parking lot rehabilitation project. They were tasked with evaluating each area for ADA compliance and possible expansion and reconfiguration in order to create maximum available parking spaces. Further, they were asked to evaluate each area for effective drainage and incorporate other features suggested by community members and staff. The board overall approval of the funds was $3,593,281 for the construction portion of the project, which started in the fall of 2019. During this long project, there were some upgrades and design changes as the project progressed. Part of these changes that put the project slightly over the large budget was we added step lights and ramp lighting to the lodge stairs and ADA ramp that's actually located right out here. Irrigation repairs to major lines unforeseen before the project start. Existing curbs around the lodge were sandblasted and repainted. This was outside the project scope. And we added a railing above the ADA ramp for fall protection and added some block to the retaining walls that is down here at the ramp. These changes put the project at $16,704 over budget. The entire project finished in the winter of 2001. The entire fiscal impact brought the final project cost to $3,609,985. Staff requests the Board of Directors to approve the final cost of the paving project with the additional funds of the $16,704 from the Road Reserve Fund 03670 for final project total of $3,609,985.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I can open it up for discussion. Does anybody have, do you have anybody that want to discuss this?
No.
Okay. Board, any questions, any issues? Jim? Well, Steve, I can tell you that I was very impressed with the project and the work that the contractor did, and especially impressed with the way they approached the golf course when we started the project. It was remarkable the way they did what they said they do in the 30 days of the golf course, or 21 days the golf course was closed. And that was set the tone for the quality of their work. And I have to commend you as well on a job well managed. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, President.
You bet. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay. Item 7.2. We're going to pull item 7.2 because we actually did the approval for the funding on that Sierra Park North last month. And we entered into an agreement, well, we approved our general manager to enter into agreement with a contractor for the project. And we'll be moving forward with that. And that will include the park and the pump track and the ancillary equipment that goes with it. So just wanted to let you know that no action needs to be taken at the open board meeting. So, and I have to also thank Eric and Steve because they worked really hard getting the numbers down where we needed them to be because the voters approved a certain limit and the bids came in higher. So it was quite a challenge, and they did a great job working on that. So thank you both.
Can I speak to that for a second?
Sure.
I think it's important to understand that this kind of project of this scope and volume, not just cost, but the size of it, but the nature of each part is ongoing, amorphous, and somewhat subject to information and misinformation. So for example, I saw today, oh, that doesn't include the pump track after all. Well, that's just not the case. It may not be what you see in front of you on, this line item or whatever. I will commend Eric and his crew. Not only are we getting the pump track, but we're getting it a lot less expensive than what I saw in Temecula and places like that. And the key part is we're keeping within what we voted upon. And that's the key. And that's the promise we give you. And that's what's delivered. And frankly, it's a long time coming, but it is coming, and bear with us. But when we say we're starting this, you're not going to see a pump track on day one. You're going to see the beginning of the surrounding, and then probably the pump track comes towards the end. But I'm not a construction guy. I just, play one on TV, right? But bottom line is, I think you have to bear with us. Don't believe everything, and please, folks, refrain from, the sky is falling when it really isn't. In fact, it's the opposite. We've come a long way, and we're making sure this happens. And I know you have that promise from myself and, frankly, each board member here. You don't need to clap.
Thank you, Brian. Something.
Yeah, I too want to thank Eric and Steve and his crew. I mean, these guys have cut out hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this project to make this come through and give us the park. And I'm impressed and grateful.
Okay. So we've got the motion and the second, so we can call for the vote. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You don't need a vote. Items
Bear with
pulled.
me. I'm turning pages ahead of myself, so.
You're on 44.
We're all good. Thank you. All right, next item is a 28 reading for revised rules LM 9.23. Solemn ski has priority on the course, and I see Renee's name on it, so I'll let her take the lead.
All right, the Board of Directors held a special regular board meeting workshop on June 9th to allow all members of the community to comment about possible revisions to LM 9.23. Approximately 90 members were in attendance. The board later met with the ski club, wakeboard clubs, Shows Cal skiers, and Bassmasters Club representatives to discuss the use of the Solemn course area and sport priority. As a result of this meeting, there was a consensus on a portion of the revision regarding Monday through Friday use. The board was left with the task to decide if priority for slalom skiers should continue through the weekend or limit priority to 5 days a week. The proposed revision to the rule will allow slalom skiers to have priority on the slalom course Monday through Friday from sunrise until noon. At noon, all members of the Canyon Lake community, regardless of their chosen water sport, will be able to add their name to the rotation list for the remainder of the day. On weekends, all members of the Canyon Lake community, regardless of their chosen water sport, will be able to add their name to the rotation list at any time. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the 28-day reading to revise Rule LM 9.23 as attached. And then the revision would be slalom skiing has priority on the course during Monday through Friday from sunrise until noon, period.
Thank you, Renee. And because of the process that we take, we have to establish a motion. That's not to say that it can't be modified. So this is not, doesn't have to be the motion that we vote on. So this is just part of the process. So with that, I'll call for a motion
Try a motion.
so we can get to
Second
discussion.
motion. I motion that we move forward with the change in Rule LM 9.23 as written.
Second? And the second. Okay, now we can open for discussion. And I hope to hear some good comments from the audience. Harmony, who do we have?
Yes, we have a list. We'll start with Brian McDowell.
Is your red light on? Push the button. There you go. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Good evening. Brian McDowell, 3868-384. So just comments, I think based on the last working session, I think the revision to the rule seems fair, seems like a compromise, and seems like something that could be tried that, you know, in the future then could be reviewed to see if that's working for the whole community. So I think that's my comment would be, it seems fair enough. One thing that I asked last time on the working session was, and I don't know the answer to whether it's legal or not, but I'm still interested to know from a board and from a legal point of view, whether something like this can actually be enforced, whether we, through legal, can actually identify a individual or a group of people to have any sort of priority over any sort of amenity. So I don't know what the legality of that around is. I did send you an email with a more detailed question around that, with a copy of a post with some more legal arguments to that. So again, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know if as a board you can do something like that, where you can identify one or many members in the community to have a priority across any amenity for reasons. But I guess at some stage I'd like to know from the board, or I'd like to understand a legal position on that. But other than that, I mean, just without the legal side of it, reading the rule, I think it seems fair enough. So I appreciate you guys doing that session and coming up with this revision. And other than the legal side of it, I'm in support of it.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
Kevin Thayer.
Kevin Thayer, 3868-507. The way the rule's written, I'm extremely happy with it. It's pleasantly surprised. Honestly, I think it's going to make the North Lake, I think it's going to make it a better area. And what I mean by that is I really don't think it's going to change a whole lot. The slalom skiers are going to get up in the morning and do what they do. I mentioned that at the last meeting, the camaraderie. It's awesome. You drive by there, they're all skiing. I think in the afternoon, the other people are going to come out. I don't think it's really going to change a whole lot is my thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. I think what it is going to do though, is when one group knows that they don't have priority, they're going to be more willing to work maybe with the other groups. And I think it's going to make it down the road a better environment for everybody. And I really got to commend you guys for this rule. We're only commenting on this one rule at this time, correct?
Correct.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I hope that it's passed the way it is. And I don't think it's going to be doomsday for slalom skiers. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be just, it's going to stay pretty much the same. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I have a Joe, no last name. Joe, it says 2864244 as a track and lot. Okay, Mike Kerber.
Now it's on.
Much better.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us here tonight. My name is Mike Kerber. My tracking lot is 3868629. I've lived in Canyon Lake since 2006. We moved here specifically for the slalom course. I've also been a member of the ski club since that date. I have 4 skiers in my family, including my 11-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son. When school's not in session, it's not uncommon for me to put the boat on the water about 7:30 or 8, and we'll be on the water till past noon for all 4 of us to get a ride. The dock gets crowded, so there's times that it takes 4 or 5 hours for all of us to get our ride. During the school year, we're down at the dock in the evening. Sometimes we all get a ride, but most of the time we have to make a plan as far as who's going to ski that night because there's going to not be enough time before dark. Waiting our turn is just a part of what we do, and we understand that. If we don't want to wait that long for a ride, we have a couple of choices. We get up earlier, or we sacrifice really smooth water and go out a little bit later once the early morning crowd of skiers dies down. With the discussion moving towards priority, I hope that the POA board has done the research to see when is it clogged up down there? When are the skiers down there? When are the wakeboarders and surfers down there? How many have been down there as of late? And see what the actual problem is that you're finding a solution for. Okay, personally, this year, I haven't seen as much congestion as I did last year. With COVID last year, it was congested quite a bit. This year, it's been a lot less people. There's a lot more things to do out there, I think. As the discussion continues, all I'd like to say is, please listen to the people that are using the area, specifically the Ski Club Board and Wakeboard Club Board. I know that they've worked tirelessly on this over the last couple of months. I was a part of that back in February. And it takes your time, and they've been working together, and please listen to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephen Hogger.
You can pull another chair up if you want. This is good to see. Thank you, guys.
Steve Hogger, 3719227.
John Jacobson, 3270198.
And I might tell the community that you're each represent your presidents of the Wakeboard Club.
I'm the president of the Canyon Lake Water Ski Club.
I'm the president of the Canyon Lake Wakeboard Club.
Thank you.
Pertaining to the rule on 923 on the priority, both Steve and I and some of our board members.
May I ask you to get closer to the microphone, please?
Okay.
He won't bite you.
Steve with the Wakeboard Club, Surf Club, and myself and our board members have worked tirelessly to come up with some kind of solution for the area back there. We would like to ask that the water skiers have priority Monday, Tuesday from sunup to 12. Wednesdays open for anybody that wants to come. Then we have priority again on Thursday, Friday. We do not have it on Saturday, and then on Sunday for those that work and the kids that go to school, so they can get out there and do their thing and use the facility for what it's there for, and go from there. I've also made a outline that I would like to present to all the board members at this time that pertains to the other rules that are going to be talked about tonight, and then some more discussion on that also.
And the Sunday was also till 12 o'clock?
Yes. Yeah,
all
each day
four.
that we have priority till 12.
Steve, did you have any comments? You're smiling, that's
I'm
good.
good, yeah.
Well,
See light at the end of the tunnel.
And this is something both clubs 100% agree with, both boards.
Both boards, yes.
Thank you. Well, that's really good news. I can tell you Tim Cook's worked really hard with the clubs, trying to get them to come together, because we knew whatever decision that we made as a board was not going to be as popular as what you guys come together and agree on. So we really appreciate you guys putting the time and effort into doing that. I think you saved the community a lot of grief. No, thank you. Any comments from the board?
I'll just say thank you. We left that evening with the decision basically in our hands, and we repeatedly expressed that we really hoped it could come from you guys collectively to then help us, and we appreciate that tonight.
I just want to echo that. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all your hard work and time.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you both.
Scott Larson.
The light's still on, I guess it's live. I'm not going to add to what they just talked about. I just think the one thing in coming together, because I've obviously been involved with this for many, many, many years, is that it is respected as a special use area, that people go there expecting to get good quality. We've got all levels, both sports, all water sports. We have the highest level competitors in this community. It's a sense of pride of our community, and I want to make sure that that's not lost in the area, that it doesn't become a Havasu 2.0 or anything like that, that it's really, protected for what it is, and clubs come together to make this thing work.
Great, thank you.
Stacy Norrid.
Stacy Norrid, 3719321. I know you've all heard a lot from me, so I will be brief. I agree with Brian McDowell. He has the same question that I had in the closed meeting as well, when it comes to concern about the legality of anyone having priority in an area that is considered a common area. If there can be, or if there has been more research to allow us to know how that affects us. Really what it boils down to is the Davis-Sterling Act. There's certain civil codes. And if you guys can, I don't know how it would come back out to us, but to be allowed to find out the legality behind that. The way the rule is written, and I do appreciate to all the board members, the time and consideration you've put into us on this issue. It is palpable how much you've communicated with us on this particular issue, and I really appreciate it. The way the rule is currently being proposed, I think is a real compromise, a reasonable compromise on the utilization of the community's North Lake area as written verbatim. I still believe that on the weekends, that one person's child does not get priority over another person's child in the North Lake on the weekends. And I don't look at it more as adults. I look at it as how we explain this to our children, whereas no other club has priority in any particular area in the way that the Solemn Club has. Most of us have to go through special events or go through the year before, you know how we have to go through activities to get a special event approved. But this is the one group that does. And at this point, I do believe that the way you guys have proposed the rule is reasonable. And I look at it as the cup is half full, not empty, that anything is being taken away. It's being given to the community. And instead of, I agree in having us as clubs be involved in this as much as we can. But I do believe too that as club members, I think the community's input is just as important as the clubs. I don't want to take away from anybody on that. But it is palpable how much you guys are considering this. I do hope you leave it as written verbatim. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Good evening.
And Renee.
For the record,
Marha Kid, 3778201. So I guess I want to ask a question. When I was tennis president, we all know, because I play with a lot of you, we play pickleball. So pickleball came over and took our tennis court. So I have a question. Is their ski slalom course, is that a real amenity? Who is it? The same as all the other amenities? Because I wasn't going to say one word because I don't use that side of the lake. But I do have an opinion about protecting amenities. So they say, well, you know, this sport's new and this sport's new, and they came over and they took over. I had to deal with that. This room was packed with all the pickleball players. They had matching shirts on, and then we had the tennis players, and it just created a not nice feeling towards each other. But I love pickleball. They just didn't need to take our court. So we just had that opinion. So we found a solution that worked. We all agreed, let's find courts somewhere else. Immediately, we did it. Everybody's happy. Tennis is flourishing, pickleball's flourishing. Matter of fact, we need more pickleball courts. That's how busy we are. It's wonderful. So my question would be, is it an amenity that we're supposed to protect on behalf of the skiers? Because that is right. You are supposed to do that if it's an amenity. Or is it workable? Workable, maybe. I'm glad the clubs, the presidents, they're all talking to each other, but maybe in that, maybe they need priority. They shouldn't be squeezed out of their own amenity. So if it's a real amenity, you have to consider that. Otherwise, there's a lot of walkers that want to walk on the golf course. There's a lot of skaters that want to skate on our pickleball courts. There's a lot of skaters that want to come up on the tennis courts. We've had issues on that. And by the way, that question, whether it's legal, all of our rules that are posted on our fences at our amenities say for tennis players only, for pickleball players only. You don't expect to have free chaos all over our amenities. We need law and order. So you know what I saw over Memorial Day? I saw people in the middle of the lake in between all the speeding boats out on a rubber raft.
Marha.
Sorry, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, good to be back. Welcome. Love you guys. Good luck.
And I can tell you, Marha, we're up here not to divide the community
Right.
based on amenities. We're here to bring the community together with the amenities. As you saw the ski club and the wakeboard club come together.
Yes,
which is
great.
what we accomplished tonight.
That's
So
right. Awesome.
That's our goal.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one over Zoom, Linda Sproul.
Hi, this is Linda Sproul. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Tract and lot is 3778206. I appreciate the work of the ski club and the wakeboard club and the board on this issue. I know it's very difficult, but I'm not going to object too much to what's been agreed to, but I still want to express my opinion that this is really taking away from the slalom skiing community. You know, our slalom course is unique in Southern California because it's available to anybody in the community. But it is a slalom course and it's very valuable to the users of the course. You know, people wait in line for hours for a turn. And, you know, we come before work, after work. Those of us who are fortunate enough to have been retired now could come any time of day. But a lot of people don't have that privilege. So they have to come when they can. Even if it's windy, they come. So I just want to say how important it is to those people who, including myself, who've purchased homes here and lived here for a long time because of this slalom course amenity. And I'd also like to mention again that the reason the increased use of the North Ski area for other sports is that they're not allowed on the main lake because they damage property. And those users can also damage the slalom course by running over or catching ropes on the buoys. I don't think those boats are very maneuverable with those large wakes. And the wakes themselves can damage. The docks in the area are Canyon Lake POA property. They are subject to being damaged by the large wakes, just as much on the North Ski area as on the main lake. And so the large wakes are not allowed on the main lake. It forces all these people into the North Ski area, whether or not they really want to cooperate with the taking turns and waiting turns that has been going on for decades there. And that's the reason for the current crowding, is they're not allowed on the main lake. And that's not the fault of our competition ski community. I think it's very sad that the ski club has been forced to accept this change. And it'll be a detrimental effect on all the ski club members and community, the rest of the community. I agree with what Marha just said about other amenities in the community, like the golf course. You know, I'd like to walk my dog on that golf course. I don't golf, but there's nice green grass. My dog's feet get hot on our pavement. We have no place to walk the dog. Half of our parks are more, dogs are not allowed. So, I mean, the golf course would be great. I'm paying for that thing. I never use it. So anyway, I object to the fact that our ski club has been forced to give away our priority on the slalom course.
I hear you loud and clear, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Debbie Gizon.
Hi, Debbie Gazan, 3719323. I specifically bought my home out there for the water ski course many, many years ago and thought it was considered an amenity just as much as the equestrian center or the tennis courts or the golf course. And I cannot come out during the weekdays on the mornings because I work. So the only time that my son and I can ski on the water ski course, which I consider an amenity, I don't consider it any different than the golf course. The golf course could be a lot of things. It's grass. It could be a lot of things. It was positioned to be a golf course. The ski course could be a lot of things, but it was positioned to be a ski course. And when I bought my property, I assumed that that was a protected amenity, just like the other things. So it's very upsetting to hear that we're going to lose possibly priority all weekends. And at least the new proposal is a compromise. I think that's more palatable. I don't think that my son is getting priority over other kids by having that ski course still be available to us on the weekends. There are other places that people can do wakeboarding and other types of skiing. The only place we can ski the slalom course is on the slalom course, and we can only do it one at a time. So we're more limited in numbers as well. So I do consider myself should have equal rights with other people that are full-time residents that can ski on the mornings. I wish I could ski every morning, but I can only ski on the weekends. And to not have any priority to drive 2 hours to get out there, to then have to wait 3 hours in between ski rides or even longer because there's no priority would just, mean my son probably would give up water skiing and we would barely ever do it, which makes me very sad because that was the whole reason I bought the property. So I hope that you consider the new proposal. And again, I wish that we didn't have to give up any priority because I think we should be entitled to expectation that that priority would have continued, but at least the new proposal is much better than the weekday only. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And I want to emphasize that while this rule gives priority to the ski club for those certain days and hours, slalom skiers are still allowed to come out on the course and blend in with the other boats and riders and utilize the course if they want. So it's still available all day. It's just that the priority is the what is limited by the time, but they can still go out there and use the course and ride the course. Is there someone else already?
Yes, last one is Mike Murphy.
Push the button.
Hi, my name is Mike Murphy, 3868 150. I've been coming to Canyon Lake since I was 20 years old. I've been using the slalom course. I'm 73. Oh, well, I will be in a couple weeks. So I've been here forever. I think the slalom course is something that I really enjoy, or I used to enjoy a lot, till all the trouble and all the fighting went on. It's getting better. It really is getting better. But I think something that I would like to address is, while we're talking about all this, we should dot all of our I's and cross our T's. Okay, slalom skiing, I like slalom skiing. I think slalom skiing, you need smooth water. You can't have other boats out there running around like in the back where you have two boats at once. There needs to be one boat on the water at a time for slalom skiing. I agree with that 100%. I don't think they should get the water 24/7 or whatever it is, but I think there's going to be a compromise. But what I say about dotting your I's and crossing your T's, there's two other areas that need to, I think, be discussed or thought about before it becomes a problem down the road. Is you've got barefoot water skiers. They go 40 miles an hour. They hit another boat wake. They go on their face. They can get hurt. Back barefoot, 40 miles an hour, you can get whacked really good. So I think while that the priority is there, they should allow the barefoot skiers, which are very few of them. There's only a handful of them here anymore. It's the way it used to be. When I used to barefoot ski, I could sign up on the list. Slalom skiers had no problem with it. Go do your run, Murphy, it's over, right? Another one is swivel skiing. Okay, Stacy's a swivel skier. She's just one or two people on this whole lake that swivel ski, but she absolutely requires smooth water. They're doing a ballet, swivel skiing, for you don't know, it's a ballet on water. You put your foot in a rope, you do a ballet, you do 360s. If you fall with your foot in a rope and you don't have somebody pulling the pin that's quick, could be a big problem, right? So I think that these people should also be allowed to sign up to take their turn with one boat on the water and have a good run. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And it's my understanding that beyond the 12 o'clock time, when priority is over for the slalom skiers, that it's open. The water's open to any and all sports. So it's just a matter of waiting your turn. Anyone else, Harmony? Okay. Did you fill out a ballot?
Oh, I have you under member comments. That'll be a little later on.
Did you fill out a form?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have you down for item 9.28. Did you want to speak on this one? Sure.
There you go.
Kathy Mulcahy, 3868-189. I just want to applaud you guys very quickly for being fair to all community members. And I just had to, I heard a couple people say some things which was a little bit erroneous. I've been a member of the Equestrian Center for many years. We gave half of our property to the ball field. It was a great thing. People enjoy that ball field. There is precedence for sharing amenities. There is precedence for change in this community. Not radical change, but when it makes sense. And, you know, we had comp boats for years. My husband used to ski out at Wet Set and compete. You know, to paint the wake surfers, which is what we do in the light of some hooligans that are going to trash everything. That's most of us. Maybe there's one or two, just like there's one or two hooligans on the ski course. There's one or two hooligans wake surfing. Most people that are wake surfer are incredibly respectful. We follow every rule out there. We take our turns. We wait for the skiers to, you know, finish their pass. So I just don't want to be represented. Most of the wake surfers out there are very experienced boat riders, boat drivers, and we follow the rules. And that is the only place now that we can do our sport. So thank you again for being so fair and addressing this issue.
Thank you. Sounds like we just need a sign that says no hooligans. Wouldn't it be nice? Harmony, we're done?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for your comments. We have a motion and we have a second, but we may have a modification.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to amend, and it's amendment actually to what was also given. What was provided to us was priority shall be granted to the Canyon Lake Water Ski Club from sunup until noon. I would like to change that to priority shall be granted to slalom skiers sunup until noon. So not to any particular club, because there may be slalom skiers who are not in the club, and we want them to be able to enjoy the course on smooth water during that time as well. So the LM 9.23 would read priority shall be granted to slalom skiing sunup until noon on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Want a second?
Second.
And I would just add that the original language was slalom skiing in the current rule, so.
Yeah, we're addressing the rules for the entire community, regardless of your club affiliation. It's just really helpful for the majority of water sports users that are in the clubs to, step forward and come up with that agreement. So that went a long ways to solving this problem.
Yeah.
So we have an amended
Yeah, I
motion
And a second from Director Cook.
and a second. So we can call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5, sorry,
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you all for bearing with us through that. We've got a few more, hopefully much simpler rules that we have to deal with tonight. So we'll move on to 28-day reading of 9.24. And that's got Renee's name on it as well.
All right. So now that there are multiple water sport enthusiasts enjoying the North Lake, specifically the Front Lake Solemn Course area, it is necessary to change the word skiers to riders. I would like to add, we received an amendment to what I had written. So what I had written down was just changing out the word, saying a rider's turn is determined by boat rotation. It has been suggested and recommended by both clubs that it says that 9.24 reads, a skier's/rider's turn is determined by boat rotation as noted on sign-up sheet at starting dock.
Okay, so that is the
Revised motion?
revisement from what you see on your paper that we handed out earlier. Then that revision is directly from the ski club and the wakeboard club.
Correct.
So we have a motion and a second.
A motion. Yeah, second.
Second. Okay. So now we can open it to discussion. If there's any discussion on this particular rule? Harmony?
No.
No discussion. All right. Any discussion from the board? I think their revision clarified it a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. Brian, right?
Yeah, Brian, do you want me to state my tracking lot again?
Yeah, we're getting to be old friends now.
Okay, good. Thank you. Just a technicality. Again, I agree with it. It sounds right, but I'm just thinking about the practical application of it. Imagine, if you will, 11:55 in the morning, and there's a list in progress. And that list may carry over 12 o'clock, right? Let's say there's 7 people on that list. Now, if those 7 people on that list are all skiers, according to the rule that you just approved previously, let's say it's Monday, and that list of 7 people carrying past the 12 o'clock, is that still enforced? Or does at 12 o'clock, wherever you finish, and the list starts over again? So I'm just wondering, it's more a question of clarification, just because I could imagine on the dock, people would say, well, I put my name I'm a skier. I put my name on at 11:55. Surely in an hour and a half, I still get to go. So I'm just wondering, like, technically how that works. That's all.
It's a fair question. I think that's going to be up to the skiers on the dock to work that out, the clubs to work that out. I don't see patrols standing there, with the list and saying you're in, you're out.
No,
I just don't.
If you want ambiguity to be removed, if you want harmony to be put in place, these are the type of things that can cause problems on the dock. And you want to see people get physical on the dock. Like, if you want, this is what incites that kind of stuff. Like, I put my name down. Why did you cross it out? Oh, you ripped up the sheep? No, I had my list down there. Like, these are the things that happen on the dock and have happened over years. Whether you choose not to enforce it, that's up to you. But I'm just saying that's a side effect of something like that.
Understand.
My thought behind it and seeing that until noon and then it's open to everyone, it would be at that time, others can start adding their name to the list because it would be ambiguous. I agree with you without any clarity. So if we need to button that up, so I'm glad you brought that to our attention. Where it wouldn't be fair to slalom skiers is, let's say a slalom skier rolls out at 10:45 or 10:30, but they're 8 on the list. And now noon rolls around. It wouldn't be fair. They've already been waiting an hour, 15 minutes, and their time may not even come around until 1:30. So I would hate for that to happen. That was not the intent. It was they have priority. And to me, priority is being able to write your name down on that list until noon. And then at noon is when other water sports can add their name to that list.
Okay.
So I thank you for bringing that up because clearly then it needs to be tightened up and maybe on the description. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no more comments, we can call for the vote on Rule 9.24. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
So we'll go to 9.25. Skier's turn is 6 one-way passes or 3 falls. And these rules we felt were necessary just to clarify some of the stuff. And that Brian brought up, we may need more rules to clarify stuff as well. So this is by no means an absolute solution, but it's a movement in the right direction. So I hope everybody can appreciate that. 9.25, Renee.
Here we go. This is another one that I'm going to request that we amend, but the background on this, while a turn for skiers is defined under LM 9.25, there's no different definition for other water sports. It is important for all water sports enthusiasts to know the length of their turn and run. So what I had originally proposed, which is written down, is that it would say a skier's turn is 6 one-way passes or 3 falls. Wakeboarders, wake surfers, and all other towed water sports turn is either 6 one-way passes or 15 minutes. The ski club and the wakeboard club made it much more concise, so thank you for that. And their recommendation, I agree with that, is it's going to be titled for LM, hold on, 9.25. Wait a second, I apologize. I was reading ahead. Can I have a moment? Thank you. Skiers turns one-way surface. Oh, okay. Nope, then all right. Okay, so here we go. Their suggestion is a skier's turn is 6 one-way passes or 3 falls, and a rider's, so that would be in reference to everyone else, rotation is 15 minutes. And I've been out with both sports and slalom skiers. They said they do take about 15 minutes, so that would end up being fair. Because my concern initially was if it only takes a slalom skier 10 minutes and a wakeboarder gets 15 minutes, they get more time. And the slalom skiers assured me that it takes about 15 minutes. So the recommendation is for LM 9.25, and I'll read it one more time, is a skier's turn is 6 one-way passes or 3 falls, and a rider's rotation is 15 minutes. So they took out all passes.
So to clarify, that separates the skier's turn and the rider's turn separately. Okay. So that's the motion? Renee, that was your motion?
Yes, that's my motion. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did we get a second? Not yet.
I'll second.
Not yet. Did you second? Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Okay, now we can open it up for discussion. You have any?
I don't have any written, but I believe Stacy Norwood would like to comment.
You can come up. But be brief.
The only thing I was going to add to that, possibly for clarification, because it has been an issue before, is to add in with or without stops. So when you say one-way passes, whether it's a skier or not, to add in with or without stops at the end of each one-way pass.
Go ahead, sure.
Just from my experience being out there, and I would love for a slalom skier to, if they have a comment on it, but when they get down, there's always a stop at the end just to let the water smooth out for, it's usually less than a minute, if that, so then they can come back. So that's the way I've interpreted that it's always been.
I'm a swivel skier and I don't stop at the ends, and I'm technically a skier, and I'm from past, I'll just say past board members that have tried to whittle away at the ability of people being able to use it. It's nice to say with or without stops at either end. It just allows for the general population. Does that make sense?
Not quite clear how a stop would matter one way or
So
the
a
other.
skier stops at each one-way pass.
Right.
I go off the dock and do 6 passes, and I never stop unless I fall. But I also want to bring up, does that mean children who are trying to learn only get 3 falls? I know it's
Yeah.
like hairs, but I don't want people yelling at each other.
That's the rule, yeah. So it would apply to everybody.
Yeah, okay. So teaching our children up front will be difficult.
No. Okay. Any other comments on Rule 9.25? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay. .28, no wake surfing in the slalom area. This one should go pretty easy. And I see Tim, you want to read that?
Upon review of the rule and discussion with the various clubs and users of the North Ski Area, it's been the consensus recommendation that LM 928 be revised to allow wake surfing in the slalom course area and make reasonable restrictions on turnarounds for ski wakeboarding and wake surfing. Let's just go right over here. The proposed revision rule would yet again allow wake surfing in the slalom course area and would place reasonable restrictions on turnaround parameters to help mitigate the dock damage. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the 20-day reading of the rule revision of LM 928 as attached. The current rule is 928, no wake surfing in the slalom course area. Wake surfing is not permitted in the slalom course area. I can't pull it any closer to me. Okay. Revised rule of LM 928 turnaround and turnaround restrictions. No turnaround U-turns permitted with 400 feet from the dock or the wake enhancing device boats in the slalom course area. No turnaround or U-turns permitted within 200 feet from the dock for any other type of motorized boat in the slalom course area.
Okay. So there's no 9.28. There was an amendment recommendation by the ski club. Tim, did you see that, or did that allows one wake surf boat in the slalom course area at a time during priority times? Did you want to amend that to include that? Okay, it's your motion. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Oh, I second.
All right. We'll open that up for discussion.
Okay, first we have
Oh, sorry,
Kathy
Jen.
Mulcahy.
Oh,
Hi, just real quick, I would like it changed. So right after it says 400 feet from a dock for wake enhancing device boats, I think it would be more reasonable to change that to 400 feet from a dock for boats using wake enhancing device. Because most boats, when they're not using their wake enhancing devices, are close to a regular boat, not a comp boat, but close to a wakeboard boat. So it depends if your ballasts are full or not, or if you have lead ballast in there. So those boats would follow this rule. And I just think that clarifies it a little better. And then my only other comment was I measured it on Google Maps and it looked like the distance between the end of the dock and the starting buoys on Google is just shy of 600 feet. But eyeballing it tonight, it looks much shorter than that. So I don't know if there's a way you guys could get a measurement on that to make sure that it's something that can actually physically happen. You might want to just make sure that that you do have that much room to turn. Thank you.
thank you.
It is my understanding, just to clarify with the ski club, wakeboard club, whatever, but those guys drop and turn every time anyway. They don't continue around, right? So
Say that again, I'm sorry.
a wake surfer would drop and not, so when you drop a skier, you're not worried about the turning. He's
No.
dropping, picking a skier back up and exiting again.
Right.
So I don't see that really even comes into play.
My question is the 400 foot and the 200 foot marked on the course? Is there a reference point? Okay. So we would also want to have something provided out there, a buoy of some sort? Yeah.
Yes, I believe we should put a buoy or something delineating that distance.
Okay, we can request that separate from the rule motion, but there definitely should be some sort of marking there. I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
Well, my name is John Jacobson again, and on this rule of allowing one wake surf boat up there, I think it's kind of important to keep in mind that those boats do put out a pretty big wake, and regardless of anybody in the lake that's sitting there in the staging area, which is going to be the center dock where the pavilion is, will be ready to go for their turn. So it's pretty important that if they're out there surfing, that we had made a note on this, that any wake enhanced boat with ballast or a wedge or any other wake enhancing device must stop at the end at using the slalom course area, which the turns allowed in an idle only position. Riders should be dropped at the green buoys on the dock end of the slalom area, which is coming towards the pavilion or the causeway. And plus there's going to be a boat tied up on that dock waiting their turn. It's going to be important that they bring that thing to a complete stop and then turn around, pick up their rider and go back again. Your suggestion of putting a marker buoy out there, I think is a good idea. But when they start getting in close, it's not going to be good for anybody. I mean, the docks are going to move pretty hard, the boats are going to move pretty hard, and nobody wants damage to any of the POA equipment or their own personal boats or the causeway, because those things can move rocks. They're big. And that's all I have to say on
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Because I'm a pontooner, so I really don't know. So when you say allow one wake surf boat in the slalom course, are you talking about just riding one at a time, or are you talking about just if there's 3 boats, wakeboard or wake surfing boats waiting, 2 have to wait on the northern side?
No. Just one boat at a time up in the slalom
Running.
course area. So if there's a wake surfer that has signed up to come into the area to do his thing, then it's only 1 at a time, not 2 at a time, just 1 boat at a time for their rotation in the slalom course area.
Similar to how it already is for the skiers?
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, that's what you
Yes,
meant.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I
Thank
thought you meant staging, that you only wanted to
Well,
wake
no,
boat there staging.
to make it efficient, how we do it is we have a boat on that staging dock ready to go. So when the skier is done and he's coming in, we come over to the other dock, clear the area, they wait for the wakes to subside, and then the next boat will go on its course. So there's always going to be a boat sitting there ready to go, and he doesn't want his boat, thrashed or anything else. And nor does he want the dock to be tore up either. So it's important that coming that way, that the boat has to shut down and then idle around, pick up his rider and go back the other way.
Okay.
That's
And now I understand the amendment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You want to incorporate that into your?
Yeah, so at the end of 928, we'll just have to incorporate 1 skier/rider on the course at a time.
Okay. So you're keeping all the verbiage in the revised
rule and
adding his terminology on 9.28 about 1 rider and
one skier or /rider on the slalom course at a time.
1 wake surf boat at the slalom course.
Skier/rider.
Oh, no more than 2 boats in the back one. No, but we're talking about in the 9.28. We're talking about 9.28 still.
Correct. Right.
Oh.
It's just in addition to the turnaround, just to clarify that there's only 1 rider at a time.
You're going to add this 1 wake boat in the slalom course at a time.
Correct.
Okay.
1 rider. Skier/rider.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, did you hear that? We're adding an amendment. Do you want to state it?
Yeah, just adding an amendment to that to include that only 1 rider/skier/rider on the slalom course at a time.
Okay.
President Commission, we had one more comment, if you'll accept it.
I'm sorry, Herman.
We had one more member comment, if you'd
Oh,
like.
Sure.
Stacy Norrid.
Sorry, I'm your problem child. Currently, LM 9.27 already states that we have to stop at the north end of the slalom course already. So now we're asking, this is what I was bringing up, stops versus no stops, is that now we'll have to stop at the south end. So you can literally go one way, you have to stop, and then come the other way, you have to stop, turn around, go the other way, stop. And that's not inherently what most water sports do. That's what slalom skiing does. And so if we do add the stops at each end of the slalom course, it isn't truly allowing the water sport to happen. There's turns. We typically go in like an oval fashion for many things, but currently the way LM 9.27 states is that if we add in, we have to stop in front of the dock, the main dock, and then we have to stop at the other end. It creates a huge problem for a lot of us. We just caught it.
Well, I'm going to go forward with this and we'll see what the board decides. If it doesn't pass, we'll reevaluate it. If there's any more discussion.
Can we?
Sure. Button.
Frank Woodman, 3719336. There's a good reason that we stop at the other end when we go down. It's not just because we want to shorten our ropes or rest, or let the wakes go. The reason we stop is if we make a turn down there, our rollers go down into the north area. And that way, when the wakeboarders come in, the rollers are going opposite the way they're coming. And when they hit the wake, then they have a bad wake to hit too. They don't want to hit the wakes either. The wakeboarders, they like those smooth waters, surfers not so much, but it's a big deal for them. So Stacy's about the only one I know that wants to turn down there. Everybody else pretty much stops, comes back the other way. Good reason, throws rollers down to everybody else who's using the North Ski area. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Joe, can we just continue with this and then take up 927 at another time if we have to, since it's not on the agenda?
I'm sorry?
Can we just continue with 928 at this time? And then if we have to take up 927, it's not on the agenda now, make a modification to 927 at the next meeting or thereafter if we need to?
9.28 you're talking about?
Correct. The rule Stacy's talking about changing or modifying is 927 and it's not on the agenda.
No, it's not on the agenda. You're right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Brian? You got to sit closer.
No, I was just going to suggest what Tim suggests, which is go with 928 for now. It's better than what's there. The concerns are practical ones, but I don't think they're truly a problem because the wake surfers are going to want to drop their rider, come to a complete slow down slot, make their turn, and then go back because it's not wide enough there to do a turn and keep us a rider in the wave anyway. Now that we're starting shorter, we don't have the turn to be able to do the whole turn. So this seems practical. I don't think that's a concern that a wake enhanced boat is going to try and do a turn that narrow with a rider on it and throw that wave down. They're going to want to come to a complete stop at that 400 feet where the 55s are, slow down, control the turn, and then go back. So I think the way the rule's written, go forward with it. And then if you feel like you need another one, you can review that later.
Okay, thank you.
So that we don't understand what the proposed.
Can I clarify? Are you modifying your original motion to add this sentence? And I think I'll have to read it to get it down correctly, right?
Yeah, the rule
Okay.
revision as is,
And-
plus with the skier slash, what was the other term?
One skier / rider at the
Rider.
slalom course at one time? Okay, and Director Griffiths, you seconded. Do you agree with the amendment? Okay,
Yes,
go
I do
ahead,
agree
Joe.
with it. I second that.
So we have a motion and second? All right. So any more comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay. 9.29, a maximum of 2 boats are allowed to run on the backwater at a time. Renee?
All right. Currently, there is no rule about the number of boats that are allowed to run in the backwater at the same time. The Ski Club and Wakeboard Club recognize the need to have a rule to help create a safe place for all water sports enthusiasts in the backwater. The two clubs work collectively to create a rule to help create a safer ride for the members in the backwater. So it is recommended that the board approve the 28-day reading for LM 9.29. There's currently no rule, so the proposed revision / new rule is a maximum of 2 boats are allowed to run in the backwater at the same time. There is a revision presented, and I don't know if it's just the words mean any different, but what was just brought to us was allows no more than 2 boats in the backwater at the same time. I think
And
it
this
says
is
the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so there's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion in the audience? Okay, that's pretty
I
simple.
might have one comment online.
Okay,
I think it's Linda Sproul, if you can unmute.
are you there?
Okay, I think we can move on. I don't think she's coming, so that's fine.
Okay. All right, so no comments. We'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay. We're getting close to the end.
Almost done.
That was 9.29. 9.30,
Last one.
new rule, a writer's
Sure.
turn. A writer's turn in the backwater. Okay. And Renee, if you would.
Okay, it's going to sound like I'm repeating. Here we go. Currently, there's no rule about a rider's turn in the backwater. The ski club and wakeboard club recognize the need to have a rule so all members have a clear understanding of the length of each rider's turn in the backwater. The two clubs work collectively to create a rule that addresses a rider's turn in the backwater. The proposed rule, because there is no current rule, states, and there's been an amendment, and I'm fine with it. So what I have written down is a rider's turn in the backwater is either 6 one-way passes or 15 minutes. Other boats must wait their turn. And the rule revision recommendation is that it just states a rider's time in the backwater is limited to 15 minutes. They took out the 6 one-way passes. So I would like it to, I'm fine with that, where it says a rider's time in the backwater is limited to 15 minutes. I would like to keep the sentence in there that other boats must wait their turn. So no 6 one-way passes.
So you're amending it to include just the 15-minute portion?
Correct, as recommended by the ski club and
Right.
wakeboard club collectively.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, do we have any discussion from the audience on LM 9.3? Yes, Kevin. And I want you to know I'm being a little flexible because we have so many rules pertaining to the ski. I didn't expect everybody to write a request form for each one of the rules. So we're being a little more flexible with calling you up than we might normally be in our subsequent meetings. So just don't expect us to be this liberal for other meetings on other matters.
Kevin Thayer, 3868-507, and Joe, I was going to mention that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are going leaps and bounds here. I'm just talking about this. We're getting a little crazy here, but I mean, it's going the right direction. To me, it should just be 15 minutes, simple. The reason is when there's two boats using the back area, it's better if they're going opposing directions always. And if that means one skier falls or wakeboard or hydrofoiler or whatever, and that boat wants to go the other way so that the boats are going opposite directions for the best ride of both parties, it's better. I know it makes it a little more difficult because you got to keep track of time. But I think the best thing is just 15 minutes. The one-way passes just makes it more challenging. It's a small area. That's the only thing. I want to really thank you guys for all you've done tonight.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay. That concludes all the action items that we have tonight. I'm sorry? Oh, it doesn't conclude them. You got to keep me honest. All right. So now we do have a motion and a second for 9.30. Board, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Thank you. Now we've completed all the action items.
Before we leave that subject matter,
Sure.
can I say one thing? I think it's important if I get this right. I think it's important to understand, one of the things that many of us ran on was the fact that we wanted to make sure the board did its homework before changing rules, including consulting legal. And I can tell you that legal has been consulted. It's attorney-client privilege to share specifics. So I know there was some concern tonight. In any event, we'll leave it at that. So I hope that helps some people in the audience in particular who had concerns as to some aspects of this. And then furthermore, I'll leave it to you if you have any further queries or what have you. But in terms of legal opinion, that was definitely part of this precursor. And people should understand that we had, several meetings now, including the open, an open meeting and then we met with the clubs. So this has been something where I will say it may not be, and using your model for every situation, but I think that the new board, and every time we have any new members, it's a new board. The new board has been cognizant of the need for transparency and thoroughness, and frankly, we commend all of you in the process. Tonight, we've done a lot of things, areas I had no idea about. Ask me about hitting a baseball, I'll tell you all about it. But standing up on two skis, let alone one, is almost impossible to me. So thank you very much. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Brian. And I hope you folks really know that we don't just sit up here and make rules and write them down and pick out of the air what we want to say. There's a lot of research that went into this, not only with the members and the skiers, but with our legal department and our management and our staff and the people that have been here for many years and know the ins and outs of the rules. So while the final decision lays on us, it's not without, a pretty good effort on our part to come to the best solution. So with that, we'll open up to member comments. So if anybody still wants to talk about something, we'd be more than happy to listen to you.
Our first is Rita Benlin.
My name's Rita Benlin. It's track 3718 and lot 57. And for those that know me, hello. And for those new members, welcome and congratulations. The reason I'm speaking right now is to let you know that I am on what they call the Riverside Mid-County Behavioral Health Boards. I'm talking a little bit for George Middle that worked with me. Also Jordan, of course, that we've lost in recent time. And I'm speaking up in honor of them. And also for the fact that I was going to move before the virus, but then I talked and worked with my husband and we decided we're going to stay. I'm 74, and those that know me, I did have Chuck has been very good to me about writing articles about me in the paper. And I've been in and out of the paper since I'm 18 years old for being blessed, I guess. I have triplets, so that was the main thing I got famous for, but throughout my life. But the one thing, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and the reason I'm here, I'm a dual diagnosed counselor. I work in behavioral health. Also, those that remember me, I used to do cosmetology. I know the old saying, only a hairdresser knows for sure, is very true. And the other thing that I wanted to bring out, I'm here because I decided to go back to work. I reopened my business. I was going to shut it down. And one of the things I'm here for is to make this the best city in the world, because I believe it is a bit of paradise. New York was my favorite place. I actually grew up in the same town as Donald Trump. By the way, he sent me a beautiful letter congratulating me on my choices. I worked with the county with 42nd with Ken Calvert. So I have a lot of influence. Let's put it this way. I come from performing arts. And one of the things I want to do is get the right hands and the left hands talking. Now, at my age, I'm not a computer technology person, and I am very good at paper, but I promise I'm learning. I know how to do Zoom. And so one of the things I'm doing is I'm here to help. Unfortunately, my job consists of working with a lot of suicides. So if I didn't, and my husband, I should count him. Unfortunately, he does have beginning or middle stages of Alzheimer's, so he's not able to be here. But we've been and owned a lot since 74, moved out in 88. In the article that I sent around in the paper, I believe they have it now, was the fact that we built over 40 homes or helped build 40 homes in here. We have quite a background. Like I said, if we didn't build your house, we did your hair. If we didn't do your hair, we did, I did your counseling. And I have 15 grandchildren under 33 and 8 great-grandchildren. I can go on, and I don't know how I did it other than somebody upstairs really likes me. But the reason I'm here is because I want to be part of the community. Some people love me and some people don't. I mean, that goes along with the territory, no matter where you're at. I can remember Mayor Koch getting pies thrown at him. So I commend you for your positions, but I will be short and let you know that anything I can do. My work is called Works of Heart. I actually opened in 2015, was going to give it up, but decided that my talent should be spent here. And like I said, I want the right hands and left hands talking, and that's all I want to say. So thank you and congratulations to our new members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and my high school thanks you that we did our recovery, I forgot to tell you. And they're all in their 70s and they're senators like Duncan Hunter and all them. So I have lots of friends that are interested in this town.
Thank you.
Alyssa DeCasperis.
Good evening. You get 2 New Yorkers in a row.
That might be a first. That might be a first.
Normally, I would speak directly from my head to mouth to out, except I think I need to be a little more concise.
Let me have your name and track.
Alyssa DeCasperis,
Thank you.
3831 188. And I'm just going to find my notes for you, which were right in front of me before. Sorry about that. So each of you know me in some capacity. I'm Alyssa Escar DeCasperis. Either you know me by Escar or DeCasperis. I'm very concerned about the recent spate of disruptive and destructive activity which seems to be occurring by kids and teenagers in Canyon Lake. I'm on a number of Canyon Lake Facebook pages, and I generally respond to the posts about kids actively behaving badly. For example, destroying our wildlife, dumping trash on corners, terrorizing people in parks, the lodge area, underage golf cart riding, etc., reminding parents that it's 100% their responsibility to teach their children to be respectful. In fact, I decided to copy a standard response so that I don't have to retype the whole thing. Every time I read one of these messages, this is my response. I'm just going to continue to repeat the same comment that I put on every one of these posts, describing disrespectful, destructive, and obnoxious kids. In fact, I'm going to cut and paste it and save it so it's easier for me to repost it. Problem 1, it's not trying to understand this generation. It's trying to understand the parenting or lack thereof of this generation. I have 3, 27, 24, and 17. Not one of them would even consider damaging someone else's property because they would be more afraid that I would make their lives more miserable than any cop, judge, or prison. I've told all of them that if I even saw them pulled over by a cop on a highway, I'd pull over and the cop would feel so sorry for them for having me as a mother. Do they have fun? Yes. Do they hang out with their friends? Yes. Do they mess around? Yes. Do they destroy people's property, cars, steal boxes at front doors, dump trash, and curse out adults? Absolutely not. So parents, the truth of the matter is it's not this generation, it's ours, that decided the concept of entitlement, no consequences, and not my child exists. If you haven't told your kids that there are cameras everywhere, not just in Canyon Lake, but in every community, in every city, this may be the time you want to do so, because their pictures on social media behaving badly is their first step to their mugshot. All of us were young ones. All of us, I'm sure, behaved badly at one time or another. But somehow I think that all of us had consequences to our actions. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My two older sons, now 23 and 27, were born and raised in Brooklyn and Staten Island. My 27-year-old still lives on Staten Island, and I now have a 17-year-old stepson who was born and raised in California. With regard to me and my New York-raised sons, we didn't have a community like Canyon Lake with amenities that we have here. We had the raw streets. We rode our bikes, we roller skated, and in the case of our kids, rollerbladed, skateboarded, and scootered on major avenues in the direction of traffic. If anyone was playing ball in the street and a car came down the street, the protocol was to yell car and part the way for the cars to pass. My generation, I'm 55, went out in the morning and returned home when the streetlights came on. Every parent in the neighborhood knew us. And if we did something wrong, you could be certain that your parent would know it before you got into the door. We didn't have video games, cell phones, participation trophies, or parents who told teachers that they were the problem when we got in trouble in school. I do not accept COVID as an excuse for poor parenting. What I write in my post is 100% true. If any of my kids acted the way these kids are acting in this community, they would prefer to be picked up by the cops than deal with me. We need to be more proactive here, whether that's rule changes, making certain that parents are fully aware that they will be held responsible for the actions of their children with increased fines, or adding a police presence in the community at known hotspots, sending out mailers to residents with information regarding what criminal activity is, and the penalties involved as a warning sheet. Whatever it is, we cannot allow this to continue. We're a gated city, and as such, we should have the ability to maintain a semblance of law-abiding residents within our gates. Of
Alyssa?
course, I am not delusional.
Alyssa, excuse me. We're running out of time. Just if you can wrap it up.
I'm wrapping it up.
Thank you.
Of course, I am not delusional, nor do I expect anything close to 100% compliance, but we need to come up with deterrents that cause people to think twice. I'm happy to see that we've reinvigorated the Rules Committee, and I expect the Appeals Committee to be on it as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Online, we have Nikki Hess.
How you doing? This is Chad Compton, 3831-239. I have a quick question. For the new rules in the North Water, I moved to this community because of fishing, and I'm very happy that actually the slalom and the surf club and the wakeboard club came together. Here's the problem: when you look at the rules, you guys are stating in the North Lake that there's only 2 boats to be back there at a time. Well, a lot of times I get out there as it's getting light, and what happens in that situation? 98% of the time, I'm on an electric trolling motor. Probably 2% of the time, I'm on the big motor in the fishing boat. I've never, ever had a problem with any of the wake surfers, any of the wakeboarders. All of us seem to work together. The only time I've ever had a problem is with the slalom skiers. So I guess my question is, what happens when I'm back there? Because I don't fish for 15 minutes and I'm back there before everybody else is back there, and boats start coming back there. Am I able to stay back there and fish off to the side like I do? We don't fish in the middle of the lake. We're only against the trees and the cliff area on the side. So how's the ruling going to go about fishing in that lake now, on the North Lake, the slalom lake?
Fair question. Tim, do you want to answer that? You want to address that?
Yeah, as far as I know, none of that changed. It was just specifically talking about 2 riders or skiers at a time, consuming that area, not so much as, I mean, everybody knows when you're back in the backwater, we'll call it, there's 4 or 5 boats tied up together waiting to go. There's not that you can't have more than 2 boats there, period. It's just talking about 2 skiers at a time is the rule.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was only asking because the rule states, as you guys wrote it, 2 boats back there. So like I said, I've never had a problem with any of the wakeboard boats, wake surf boats, anything back there. We kind of just work together. And when I do leave, I'm always considerate of the slalom guys, but for some reason, it's just, I don't know, they're a little prima donna sometimes. And I just don't know how it's going to react with, what about fishing on the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday? Are we still allowed to be off to the side on our trolling motor and fish on the slalom days?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, and the main thing, just to reiterate, and if we need to tighten this up, and it sounds like maybe we do, but it's about 2 boats running simultaneously. So pulling wake surfers or wakeboarders at the same time. We don't want anyone thinking if there's enough space that 3 can go at the same time, because that's not safe. So it's a matter of just providing some safety regulations back there. So that would be crystal clear to everyone.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, thank you.
No other member comments?
No other member comments. All right. Go on.
Oh, sorry. I just want to clarify. Scott Larson, 3868-459. 2 quick questions. One is this a 90, it was on the document, is this a 90-day review of these rules?
28 days or
It's
28
days, but within 90 days of implementing them, are we reviewing them or is
No.
this going into effect?
As of today, the rules that we passed tonight have 28 days for review in the community and comments. When we reconvene in our meeting in August, those rules will be up for discussion. If there are changes that we feel are warranted, then we'll make changes and allow it another 28 days. If there are no changes, then we'll adopt those rules and they'll be effective as of that date.
Okay. That's a little different than we talked about. And then the second question was around supporting the area in terms of we have to take rules on the main lake or take tests to get our stickers to drive our boats on the main lake. Will there be anything to say, hey, here's the rules, for a different sticker for the north area, just so that people know what the rules are or the updates are? It's just a thought in terms of people understanding it, because it's going to be different than the main.
It's a good point. We can discuss that.
That'd be a suggestion.
Yeah, thank you.
Not everyone needs to come back.
Yeah, thanks. Did you guys consider the change request of name to North area? I've seen in some of some of what was written in the board agenda referred to it as the North area, but then sometimes it's still referred to as the North ski area. Did you guys consider like a change to the bylaws and the articles, just everywhere to standardize it on North area or something like that? North Lake area maybe, or something like that? So that was my one comment about lake stuff. And then I have another comment that's got nothing to do with lake stuff, if I can share that too.
Okay.
You want to go with that one as well next?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Or you want to answer the first one?
Well, no, we're not going to get into discussion, but we have discussed that. And
Okay,
we'll
cool.
talk to you.
The second one has nothing to do with water or skiing, so that's great. A welcome break. And I have no idea how this works, so I'm going to speak out loud and you can tell me if I'm being stupid or not. The white lines on the roads around Canyon Lake, like I take it because they're a solid white line, cars are not supposed to go into that area, right? That seems sensible.
Except the park.
Except to park, okay.
Yeah.
So is there any sort of like rule or weight that says that like, unless you're parking and you go into that area, like there seems to be a lot of people who think they're Richard Petty in here, right? Okay, like they're taking the corner at an apex at 42 miles an hour and, potentially killing me and my dog when I'm walking that area. So I'm just wondering, is there any rules? How is that maintained in terms of that?
I think it's pretty well clear that that's a violation of rules law.
The white line, yeah.
You can come up and speak in the microphone if you would, please. And you might introduce yourself to the community. That's it.
It's Matthew Lee. I'm the community patrol chief. There is a regulation in there, but if we don't see it, it's hard for us to enforce. But when we do see people driving in the white lines, our traffic units will pull them over. We will give them citations for that main reason, for golf carts, pedestrians, and the dogs. But there is a regulation for that, though.
Cool. Is it something you would consider at some stage identifying problematic areas in the lake where this happens often and is dangerous And maybe, I don't know if you can do it like, people do spot checks. Like, could you actually be stationed at a corner for a period of time and actually try and enforce that rule to discourage people doing it? Because, like, I know you can only do something if you see it. The problem is you may not see it when, 7 o'clock at night, I'm walking down with my dog and the guy, cuts over and almost like takes me out of the road. Like, is there, like, how they do DUIs and stuff like that? Are there times to where we could identify?
Well, currently we have on shift at any time one traffic unit, which they're there for the speeding. Because we have our road patrol, which patrols the streets, the common areas for noise, break-ins. But our traffic unit normally are positioned, well, our one traffic unit is positioned more or less where the speed trailers are. And we do have certain areas that we do know that are problem areas that they do post at a lot. To where if there's a certain area like your corner or something that is a problem, then you can call us over at Bluebird Hall, let us know. And then, yes, we can send somebody there, sit there for a little bit and try to discourage or actually catch and cite somebody though.
Okay, but that's something that I would have to request of you guys, to, if you could hang out at this area for a period of time between this time on this day, because I know it's problematic.
Yes, if you
Okay,
call
perfect.
and ask for it, we'd run it through Corey. But like I said, it shouldn't be an issue as long as it's a traffic issue, and we can try to work on that.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to close the member comments and move on to,
Mr. President, I think we have a member who wants to speak online. Herman's going to
Oh.
pull him up.
all right,
Thank you.
who is it?
Danny Martin. You can unmute.
Okay, 3720, 148. And this is with regards to back about turning on the North Lake. People for years have been turning on each side within that area safely. There's not a safety issue. I thought at the beginning it was 200 feet, and then they started talking about 400 feet, and then, oh no, you can't make a turn there at all. You have to stop each time. So I lost something there in the discussion of how it went from being able to make turns, but just staying so far away from the dock, to all of a sudden, no, you have to drop down on both sides, which in a lot of sport, it's so hard to start again each time. And part of our sports is doing the turns. Excuse me. So could that be looked at again? Throwing wakes to the backwater has never that I've known that anybody complaining about people throwing wakes back there by making their turns. It isn't something that, like, I don't see it as, there's never been an accident, a safety issue, damaging things. No. Throwing a wake back there occasionally. The people back there don't complain about wakes being thrown in their water. So please look back at that, or is that something I would have to write in during the 28 days?
Yeah, you certainly can bring that up during the 28 days. You can write the board and address that. I can assure you, not that we haven't thought of everything, but we've certainly tried. And these rules are not cast in stone. While they're going to be adopted, hopefully adopted in August, they can be changed. So if there's issues that arise from these rules that we didn't anticipate, we're certainly open to making them better for the community.
Okay, because the one sport that needs to happen is competitive slalom skiing. None of the other ones do we need to have to do that, and it is bothersome and hard and challenging. Once you get up, you want to stay up, and the older you get, you don't want to have to go down and have to come back up. And that's one of the reasons I even had stopped slalom skiing, because it was such a challenge doing that. So I jumped over to all the other water sports that I enjoy back there. So I'll get a few people to write some letters.
Great.
But in 928, we allowed U-turns. It's just you can't do them beyond those distances. On the new rule that we just did, No turnarounds, U-turns are permitted within 400 feet for a wake enhancing boat or 200 feet for a not.
On the causeway side? What about on the far side?
In the North Ski area, in the Swallow area.
But on the beginning of the slalom course, as well as the end of the slalom course?
Well, all we,
The end of the slalom course is rule 9.27, boats must stop. We did not speak. That rule was never brought up to
No.
us, so we didn't address that. So if
Okay.
that's a new, or excuse me, if that's a rule that needs to be addressed, I appreciate that she's going to write some letters about that and the reasonings why that may need to be changed.
Okay, so to clarify, you don't have to stop on the other end. You just have to stay back far enough. And you'll put a buoy there that will designate when people, it's okay to turn and when it is not. So anybody going past that. The other part for the water skiers and all the competitive skiers, they do this when they are done and aren't dropping somebody, they do a turn back there. They whip their person around. Never has caused overt damage to anybody's boats tied onto the dock, and it is common practice. Now you're saying they can't do that whip because that's going to be too far out. The boat's going to have to turn so far away to make that U-turn. It just seems like somebody's putting in extra things as far as distance and time. It's going to end up biting them too, because if you watch the slalom skiers, when they drop off, when you're done with your 6 passes, is they pull.
if I'm wrong, I thought the only rule that the change we made was on 928, where it's talking about from the causeway, the docks and the homes there doing 200 and 400 foot turns. We, as far as I know, we didn't pass anything that's talking about any other area, did we?
No, no.
So that's the only place that we're describing the turns is up against, the what do you call it, the pavilion there, that whole area
Yeah.
along there.
And that's where water skiers at their end of their time, they pull down to that area and make a whip to pull their skier in so the skier can go to the dock. They don't go pick up their skier in their boat. They whip them in there. Is that still going to be available to them if this 400-foot rule is put in? Just a question, point for thought, and maybe some feedback from them would be good.
Well, I appreciate that. And we've got the rules approved for the 28-day reading. They're not approved for implementation until next month. So if you want to write us a detailed email explaining what your concerns are, we certainly would address it. And yeah, and we can modify it next month if that's the case. So.
Yeah, I really am appreciative of all the other work that was done and the statements that were made and taking those things into consideration, and the point that now it is going to be a much better system back there and less retaliatory of some of the events that have happened, which we really just want peacefulness in our community. And I was just, when I was realizing what you were saying, I go, even the water skiers shouldn't agree with that. They need to, that whip is part of what they do. And for the rest of us making that turn earlier on, none of us are going to have a problem. The non-slalom skiers is doing that. But on the other end, that 9.27, I believe you stated what it was about, putting together something so that people don't have to stop there would help all the other recreationals.
Okay. Well,
okay. Thank you for your time and interest.
Your comment. Thank you very much. Now we're done, right? With that? All right. We have community association reports. We're going to leave those to the members.
Yes, just general manager report.
Right. We go right to the general manager's report.
Correct.
Thank you. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for coming. Still a good turnout on Facebook, Zoom, and live, so nice to see everybody. I'll try to be brief. We had a fantastic 4th of July, as usual. Our staff and all our vendors and all our partners, Riverside County Sheriff and the city, and Everybody did an amazing job as usual. All the reports I've heard we keep doing better and better every year. Show keeps getting better and better every year. We had no major access issues, couple accidents on Railroad Canyon Road outside the gates, but it was pretty much an incident-free weekend, and we're grateful for that. And it's one of our favorite things to do here, so we're glad everybody enjoyed it. Our Concert at the Lodge series is back on, and before my battery dies, I'm going to try and let you know what's coming up. Craig Campbell on 8/28, and the next one is Love and Theft on September 25th. Canned Heat is October 15th, and LA Guns November 13th. And Joe mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, asked Jeannie a question about renovation in the town center. I'm also on the Merchants Association here in the town center, and I can kind of add some clarity to that. A letter went out to everybody that's a merchant in the town center. The Merchants Association applied for a rebate from Metropolitan Water District, and we got a $100,000 rebate, and we're going to embark upon about $120,000 landscape renovation project in the town center. And so all the turf areas are going to be removed. Right now, many of the valves have to be turned on manually. It's been that way for a long time. It's a very poor irrigation system, so the whole system is going to be converted to automated and drip, and the turf replaced with drought-tolerant plants and succulents. And we have a meeting next week with kind of a landscape committee for the town center. And so town center doesn't look great right now, but that's a transition to a much better looking landscaping. So you saw tonight that actually last month the board approved the 2.2 million that was on the ballot measure, and board gave an update tonight that we are continuing to value engineer and negotiate and moving forward with that contract. And we're excited to start on Sierra Park North, and we will be building a park, and there will be a pump track in it, despite other information out there. We pulled a permit today for Roadrunner Park restroom, which is a great milestone in that project. Been talked about for 15, 16, 18 years. And we actually have a permit from the city, and we will be starting construction on that. The board has already approved the funds, so we're excited about that. Operations department's been very busy. Member services office and conference area is mostly constructed. We have some flooring to finish and some finishing touches, but that was a nice transition of an unused area where we used to store our paper files. The Canyon Lake Drive South medians are currently we're finalizing the design to remove the pine trees and update the landscaping in those medians. Galt Field operations is replacing netting, backstops, redoing restroom floors. Golf course irrigation system project. Steve's been doing a great job managing that. We're about 70% complete, and that should pay for itself in a short amount of time with water savings. The Holiday Harbor snack bar improvements. We made some improvements there so that the county health department would approve, and that it's a approved facility for clubs to raise money and use that more as a approved snack bar, I guess we should say. And we should have final inspection on that this month. The large dog park, shade structures are on order, so that project's coming. The mailbox slabs we've been working on for about a year. We're about 50% on that, and we're working on renovating the restroom at Happy Camp. That is currently in plan check with the city. Sunset Beach, just an update. The rubber surface on the playground there is deteriorating, and we will be replacing that soon. Early August, we'll send notification to the members because it'll have to be closed for a few days. And I really want to thank the board and the ski club and Tim Cook and really everybody for cooperative effort. I've been here for 5 years, and there's been hundreds of hours of conversation on the rules in the north area. And it looks like we finally made some progress. And so I want to thank everybody for that. And a big thank you to all of our staff, community patrol, operations, activities, and everybody that made our 4th of July really, really successful. And that's it. And thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, so we're going to move on to, we have nothing else. Okay,
No, so the rest are written.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Corey, did you have a verbal report from Community Patrol? Yeah, so
Okay.
we're good.
Okay, so we're going to move on to board comments. So Tim, it's a big day for you.
Big day for me.
Yes, it is.
I'm very happy and pleased with the clubs working together and everybody coming together on something that's very important to our lake and finally getting resolution. Also the ACC, most of the residents here don't realize how much time these guys put in. They're out there at 7 o'clock every Thursday and their meetings don't get done until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Besides that, the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before those meetings, these guys are studying plans and stuff for all of us. This is like the hardest working committee I've ever seen in this lake. They commit so much time, 100% volunteer, and just letting you know how hard these guys work, and I appreciate them. Thank you. Oh, and looking forward to rec committee next Wednesday. We're back in session, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, rec committee is moving forward.
You guys have one opening, right? On the committee? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Renee?
Well, the Finance Committee is doing well as usual and watching the numbers diligently. So I appreciate that and all their hard work and certainly the hard work of the staff. I want to take a moment to thank the staff especially and Community Patrol for all their hard work over this weekend, especially all, the sacrifice of giving up their 4th of July to support our 4th of July is remarkable. So I want to thank everyone who took that, had to work that day or chose to work that day so we can enjoy ours. So thank you for that. For the senior center, they are fully open. So if you are a senior and you want to have a good time, their calendars are filled with activities at least Monday through Friday, sometimes even more. So I recommend that you take a look at their calendar, see how you can jump in and have a good time with them. One thing I want to point out, especially they are going to be having their holiday boutique. It will be November 6th and 7th. Only handmade items will be sold. So for those who want that unique gift for the holidays, for their family and friends, more will be coming about that, but you may want to mark that on their calendar. They're a great, wonderful group of people. So thank you, Tim, for all your hard work and meeting with all the clubs and taking the brunt of anger that may come out. And I was still disappointed that no one came after me with that, but thank you for taking that all on your shoulders. That's it. Do you want me to keep talking?
It's only 8:10, so I got like an hour. Okay. I always try to find a, is it my turn?
Yes,
I always try to
sure.
find a theme to put everything together in the evening and since the last meeting. And actually, I think together is my theme. So not necessarily in order, but together, this community did arguably the best 4th of July I've ever seen. I've been here 10 years. Apparently, from my vantage point, I missed the bottom half of the fireworks. So when I saw the rest of the video, I'm like, oh my God, we got to leave our house because there's this whole bottom part that was even more spectacular. Together, people maneuvered through the boats and didn't, God, knock on wood, nothing really happened in that regard. Together, our community patrol just did a fabulous job working with law enforcement and vice versa. Together this week, a group of maybe 150 word of mouth veterans and first responders created something that I think will live on annually called the Ruck Walk. And if you don't know what that is, pick up a bag next time they're carrying one and put it on your back and you'll go, oh, Ruck, what was that? And that's what happened when I carried it. Actually, I liked it. It wasn't that bad, but it had nothing in it, right? So together, this board tackled a huge issue, but actually together, the two clubs, with a little bit of cajoling on our part and a little bit of, hey guys, we need your help to put this Humpty Dumpty back together. And since we met last, we didn't actually expect literally Mr. Jacobson and Mr. Hugger to come up and speak at the same time. That was really special because that really showed that, they got it. They understood, and frankly, commending the other groups as well. And lastly, our board coming together on that issue, which I don't want to go too deep other than to say it was a 5-0, and people should note that. And then last but not least, together, we're going to see groundbreaking and then some more on Sierra North and the pump track in particular. It sort of was the what's the word? The towel wagging the dog. So anyway, on that note, together, I will say thank you. Thank you to all of you for really making what this last week was just like colossal. And, thank you. And I look forward to more. And on that note, thank you, Joe.
I think one thing's for sure, there'll be more. No, thank you, Brian.
I don't necessarily look forward to,
Jim,
simpler things.
I'll keep it short. This pump track thing's been kicked around for quite a number of years, and all I can say is that I think I personally was surprised when we got $2 million to do it, plus 10%. But the thing that is really so impressive is you see a project like this come out into a big spreadsheet and the individual costs as it's broken down. You'll never know how much time Eric and Steve have put into this thing to save the money for our community. It's still expensive, but it would have been a whole heck of a lot more if it wasn't for these two. On another note, I do want to thank all of the POA staff for what they did for the 4th of July weekend. It's a phenomenal community and a great staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I mean, how can you not love the 4th of July show that they put on? It was just great. And I was out on the water and I saw the crowds that were out there, and I've seen it for 30 years, and each show gets better and better. But each crowd seems to get bigger and bigger, which is fine, because operations and Marine Patrol, they do a wonderful job, not only preparing for it, but actually handling it that evening and dealing with all the automobiles and golf carts that are trying to get home at 10 o'clock at night. And after having a few cocktails, if you will. So I think it's a great job for Steve and his staff and our management team that we do this. And when you think about everything that goes into an event like the 4th of July, from the parking issues to the entry gates that Patrol has to deal with, and the crowds, and all the logistics that has to go on, it's a monumental event. And these folks handle it like it's just another day at the office, and they do a wonderful job. And you just need to think about that for a minute and maybe appreciate your community and your staff here a little bit more. I can't tell you that the reserve study is out. We're looking at it real close. The initial views on the reserve study are positive. So we're going to give it a thorough looking over, and eventually we'll publish it out for everybody to see. But I think we're going to find that our reserves are in a little better shape than we thought they were. So that's a real positive thing. Again, the two ski clubs, the ski club and the wakeboard club, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the hard work you guys put into working together I know you had some differences and you worked through them and you came up with a solution that worked, I think will work really well. And I hope the community accepts it. From the comments I heard, there might be a few little tweaks that we have to make, but I trust that we can rely on you guys for some input on those as well. With that, I can tell you the FPC committee is hard at work looking at projects. One of them in particular was responding to a member's concern about the speed limit at the main gate, entering the main gate after Continental to Bluebird, and considering slowing traffic down there because of some of the issues that we've had. They're also looking at a cooling center possibility, preliminary project that they're looking into, but it's a cooling center that will be like a little water pad for kids to play on at the park. And then we're also looking at a project that they're looking at is to reinforce the foundation for the lighthouse. So we can, keep that lighthouse there and restore it and get it back to a strong structure that we can all be proud of. And with that, I thank you all for coming tonight and wish you all a good night. And we do not have any appeals tonight, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.